Yes. Shall I move on to the solution? Question is clear, right? As I told you, sometimes they may give you exact notations, sometimes they may not. Like for example, this ideal cycle time. Okay, you have to remember the terminology. Okay, okay. So this is the information. So we have written the information: ideal cycle time, constant downtime, frequency of station breakdowns, and total number of stations 20. That is given. Okay, because I'm writing 20 initially because for the first case we're going to consider it as 20 station transfer line only. So I wrote n as 20, but then I deleted that. I striked off it so that there will not be confusion. Okay, because n varies for different stations, for different what do you call these different options in the question. Okay, that's why let's keep it as 20 total number of stations. Now you see two stage line with 20 stations and no buffer storage. So there is no buffer storage, right? That means 20 stations are placed one after the other, as I said. So frequency of lines, from when you're calculating, you'll calculate n with 20. Probability is already given n as 20 because all of that is one stage itself. If there is no buffer storage, right, then all of those workstations, they form in one stage, right? That this complete one, all of this up until 20, this is only one stage. Therefore you will consider n as 20. Okay, otherwise if it is divided into two stages, then we'll consider 10, each stage having 10, so n will take as 10. So you understand why we are taking n as 20 here, because this is no buffer storage. So n becomes 20. 20 stations are placed one after the other. Multiply that, you get f, frequency of line stops per cycle. And I told you yesterday, anyone wants to repeat what does this point one means? Line stops per cycle, is that, I mean, sensible? Line stops per cycle, point one. Yes. You see, I told you to reverse this. Basically 1 by point 1 gives you what? 10, right? So that means 10 cycles. For every 10 cycles you are having a breakdown. Okay, I'm repeating it again so that you can understand it. If you reverse this value, point 0.1, you get 10. Okay, so what it means is, for every 10 cycles there is one breakdown happening, because you have 20 machines, right? So anyone could have a malfunction. So every 10 cycles you are expected to have one breakdown, okay, as per this value. So that's what it means. Okay, and actual average production time, TP, if you want to calculate, we'll consider this frequency of breakdowns also, not just cycle time, ideal cycle time. It is plus this term. So how will you get this? F into TD. F we already got. TD is 8 minutes given in the question, so therefore you get actual average production time as 2 minutes instead of 1.2, 2 minutes, because we are calculating actual average production time considering the downtimes, TD. Okay, so TP is 2 minutes. Line efficiency, we have the formula TC by TP, 1.2 by 2 gives you zero point 0.6. That means 60%. So this is the line efficiency with no buffer storage. Okay, E0, zero point 0.6, 60%. Clear? No doubts. Okay. Now you see second case, two stage line, 20 stations and infinite buffer capacity. Okay. So now because this is two stage, there is a buffer storage now. Okay. Although it is of infinite buffer capacity, but there is a buffer storage capacity in between. So therefore, each stage will be divided into 10 stations, 10 on the right side, 10 on the left side, right? So you have n as 10 stations. N is 10. So that will change. If n is changing, then the f value will change. So f1, f2, why we are writing 2? Because each stages, right, on the left side and on the right side, right, f1 is for this one, okay, and f2 is for this one. frequency of breakdowns for the two stages. Because they are having 10 stations on each side, both of the values are same, right? That's why f is 0.05. The two values are same for f1 and f2. Is this clear? F value has changed. Okay, actual average production time TC plus FTD. If you take f1 f2 doesn't matter because both values are same. That's why we have written general f. You get the actual average production time TP as 1.6 minutes. You see, initially we got TP to be 2 minutes, right? Because there was no buffer storage capacity at all. 2 minutes is the actual average production time. But because we have added a buffer storage of infinite capacity, we got the actual average production time to be less. From 2 minutes, we got it to be 1.6. And because TP has decreased, your efficiency will also improve 0.75. Okay, 75% is the efficiency. Okay, line efficiency for both stages, E1 and E2, right? Both on the left stage and right stage, stage 1 and stage 2. Okay, I hope this is clear, right? Not much of a confusion here. Okay, now we'll consider a practical case. That means two stage line, 20 stations, buffer storage capacity of 10. Okay, 10 is the buffer storage capacity. Now, because we have introduced the buffer storage capacity, we have the efficiency, the formula for efficiency is different from equation 11, right? We have seen. You also have that in your, I also gave you, right? That PDF. You can even refer that because I cannot go back to that equation. So in your equations, I wrote this equation 11, the a formula for calculating the efficiency for any buffer storage capacity B. Here we have B as 10, therefore we are taking EB. The formula is E0 plus D1 dash into HB into E2. Okay, E0, what is E0? E0 is the line efficiency for a line with no storage buffer capacity at all. That is case A. Okay, E2 from the last case we got, right? E1 and E2. That is for a two-stage line with buffer storage capacity as infinity. So therefore E0 and E2 we know. Okay, we have to calculate D1 dash and H of B for us to know the line efficiency of this 10 buffer storage capacity. Okay, so we'll calculate D1 dash. For equation is already there, equation 13. What are the values required? F1 TD TC F2, right? You substitute that, you get the value F1 F2, just as because two stage line, similar case, right? This was also two stage line. We have already calculated the efficient frequencies F1 and F2. Same values will put here, right? If the stages are changing, then F value will change. Okay, you have to understand that. So those are same. We substituted, and therefore we got D1 dash to be 0.2. Clear? No doubts, right? If you have any doubts, unmute or put it in the chat box. Now to calculate HB, we have equation 16. And why we are taking 16? There was even one equation 17. I'm sorry, 18. That is it is varying because we are now considering constant downtime and r equal to 1, right? If you want me to go to that formulas, you will see that you see here r is f1 by f2, right? Ratio of breakdown frequencies. And because of this, we have two distributions: constant downtime, geometric downtime. In constant downtime, even there are two cases: when r is 1, when r is not equal to 1. If the frequencies are same, you will get r equal to 1. Therefore you have formula for HB as this, equation 16. If r is not equal to 1, then you have HBA formula as this. Okay, and capital B and all you will calculate based on these formulas. Okay, and for geometric downtime, right, that there is variation in the downtime. If it says in the question, then you will use these two cases. Depends on whether r is 1 or not equal to 1. Okay, so two different formulas for HB. Clear, right? I explained to you this in the earlier class. So where were we? Right here. So That is why we are taking H of B formula as that. Okay. Okay. Now, constant downtime that was given in the question and R equal to 1, we know F1, F2 both are same. So therefore, we considered equation 16. That is equation 16. And we want to know what is capital B and capital L. Other terms are known to us. TC, TD are known to us. But to get capital B and capital L, we have this formula. Small b equal to capital B into TD by TC plus L. Right? B is your buffer storage capacity. Right? That is 10 in the question. TD by TDTC, we know, we calculate the ratio, we get it to be 6.667. Now, for calculating capital B, the formula is the maximum integer which is less than or equal to product of this term. Okay, small b into TC by TD. We substitute small b, TC, TD, we get 1.5. Now, what is the maximum integer which is less than or equal to 1.5? It is 1, right? Yesterday we saw. Equation 15, small b is equal to this one, right? Now we have capital B. We have all the other terms except capital L. We'll get capital L from this. So it is basically subtracting this term, subtracting this term from this term. Okay, so you take this becomes B minus capital B into TC by TD, and therefore we get L, 3.333. Okay, B and L are known to us, and now we can substitute here to get HB. Okay, we are substituting in equation 16. Okay, we get HB, H of 10 as 0.5833. Okay, now we have got all the terms, we substitute to get the line efficiency. Okay, we got it to be 0.6875. Okay, line efficiency for a buffer storage capacity of 10 is 68.75%. That is the line efficiency. Clear? Now for fourth case, two-stage line with 20 stations and buffer storage capacity of 100. So the buffer storage capacity has changed. So in equation 11, only H of B is different. You see, in that equation, this one, D1 dash is same, E2 is same, E0 is same, only H of B is different, right? We know why, because this will change. Capital B and small capital L values will change. Therefore, H of B will change. So you have to calculate only H of B, right? H of B is only different. D1 dash, E0, E2 are already available from previous cases. So for H of B, we know this is the formula. Small b right now in our case is 100. So we will put that 100, right? Here we'll get capital B. Now because we got 15 capital B, so any integer which is less than, I mean maximum integer which is less than or equal to this 15 is 15 itself. 15 is an integer. So capital B is 15. Therefore, if you substitute it here, 15 minus 15, we'll get L as 0. Okay. We substitute this H of B in the H of B formula. We get H of B, that is 100, as 0.9375. Okay. You observe these values. Now in observations, we'll see what is the significance of these values. Okay, we substitute these values in line efficiency formula, right, to get the line efficiency for a buffer storage capacity of 100 to be 0.7406, 74.06%. Okay, now you see observation. Problem is clear? Any doubts in the problem anywhere? Okay, so you see this value of H of B along with finding line efficiency, it provides us information on the improvement in efficiency. Okay, how much improvement in the efficiency can we obtain from any buffer storage capacity B? 10, 50, 80, 100. Okay, you observe, you see firstly difference between the line efficiency of infinite and no buffer storage, E infinity and E0. E infinity we got it to be 0.75, right? Here you see E infinity we got it to be 0.75, right? Infinite buffer storage capacity line efficiency. Zero buffer storage capacity line efficiency 0.6. Okay, now therefore if you subtract that, what do you get? 0.15, right? Now you see for b equal to 10, we obtain h of b or h of 10 to be 0.5833. I told you this, there is a significance to this value, right? That it tells us how much efficiency improvement can we get. Basically 58.33 here. So this value indicates the percentage of efficiency improvement we get if we install a buffer storage with a capacity of b equal to 10, right? That is 58.33% efficiency you will get. And you see another way to see is E of 10, we got it to be 0.6875. If we split it, we can obtain it like this: zero point 0.6 plus zero point 0.6 is for no buffer storage capacity. Okay. So no buffer storage capacity, this value will get plus some improvement, right? So if we are saying that we are getting 58.33% improvement, then we have to keep 0.5833 of difference of these values between infinite and 0. Okay. What is the difference? 0.15, right? And 0.15 of this percentage, right? 0.5833, 58.33% of 0.15. That's what it means. Okay. So if you multiply these values, how much do you get? 0.8, 0.6875 itself. You calculate. So you see how h of b, just that value, not only in helping us in finding us the efficiency, but also telling us how much is the percentage improvement. Okay. It gives you the real sense of percentage improvement. Okay. Similarly for 100, you see we got h of b or h of 100 to be 0.9375. What does this mean? 93.75 improvement in the efficiency, of the maximum improvement in the efficiency, right? So you see 0.7406, this was the value we got from the problem. Now if I want to split, I will split it as 0.6, that is no buffer storage capacity efficiency, plus 0.9375 of the difference between no buffer storage and infinite buffer storage. So I will get 0.7406. Okay, you can also see this way, that instead of having to calculate from that formula, this big formula, right? EB is equals to E0 plus D1 dash H of B E2. You can omit this D1 dash. Without even knowing the D1 dash, we can calculate E of B, right? How? Just how we calculated here, right? This is H of B known to us. E0 is known to us. E infinity is known to us. E0 is same again. So you can get E of 100, efficiency for a buffer storage capacity 100 or 80 or 50, right? Is this clear? Observations? Okay. Now you see 16.4 production rates. We already saw this, right? Yesterday. I will not repeat this, but just so that we can have this understanding, I repeated that problem. Okay. And this is not too complicated. You're just having one formula here. That is, it asks us to calculate the production rates for the four cases. The same four cases we saw in example 16.3. Okay. All other values are same. TC is 1.2 minutes as before. TD, etc. All are same. The reason why he has specified value of TC is 1.2 minutes is because that is the only value we'll calculate. I mean, will need. Okay. TD is not required, because what is the formula for production rate? E by TC, efficiency by ideal cycle time. So efficiency is known to us from the previous problem. So we'll take the efficiency, we'll divide it by the cycle time, we get the production rate. And just that we change the units also from pieces per minute, because we have taken TC to be 1.2 minutes. So therefore we get production rate also in pieces per minute. So if you want to know the hourly production rate, then we can just change the you can have the unit conversion. 1 minute is 1 by 60 hours. Okay, because this is in denominator, so this 60 will come up. 0.5 into 60 gives us 30 pieces per hour production rate for b is equal to 0, no buffer storage. For b equal to infinity, you divide the infinity by TC, you get 0.625. Converted into hours, you get 37.5. For B, storage capacity 10, efficiency we got 0.675, 6875, and therefore we get production rate to be 34.375 pieces per hour. For 100, we get 37.03. You see how this 100 buffer storage capacity is very close to the infinite one, right? This is impractical, right? But it gives us an idea of, for 100, if we are having a buffer storage capacity of 100, then we are almost equal to that infinite buffer storage capacity value, right? And of course 10 buffer storage capacity will be less than this 101, like the production rate will be less, right? So that, and now effect of high variability in downtime. You see, we considered downtime, constant downtime in the earlier problem. So what he's saying is, for the same problem, right, for the same data, calculate the line efficiencies and production rates, but geometric repair distributions instead of constant downtime. So I told you that HB formula, we have these two cases, right? Constant downtime and geometric downtime, right? So right now he wants us to calculate with geometric downtime. We have calculated using constant. Now we want to calculate using geometric, that the downtime is not constant, it is varying. Okay. So for the four cases, same four cases. So for A and B, value of E0 and E infinity will be same as calculated earlier. Why? Because there is no effect of buffer storage capacity on them, right? As for third and fourth case, you see HOB formula is different, as we saw, right? So we'll substitute that. Okay, B into TC by TD by 2 plus B minus 1 TC by TD. You'll get H of B, that is H of 10, as 0.4478. Okay, to calculate efficiency and production rates using equation 11, right? Only H of B was different, right? All parameters in equation 11 remain the same except H of B. That's why we have calculated only H of B, right? So you substitute that, you get the efficiency 0.6672. Okay. And for production rate, the formula is E by TC, efficiency by ideal cycle time. Efficiency we already got 0.6672 divided by cycle time 1.2 by 60, because we want to have it in hours. Okay. So you get the production rate 33.36 pieces per hour. Okay. For the fourth case, as I said already, only changes in H of B term. Therefore, we are only calculating H of B, right? Other terms are same, like this E0, D1 dash, E2 are same. Only H of B is different. We calculated H of B or H of 100, for example. We substituted the values. B is 100, TC 1.2 already, TD 8, same data from the previous problems. Okay. You substituted, you got H of 100 as 0.8902. Okay. If you substitute that here with other values, you get the efficiency for a buffer storage capacity 100, that is 73%, 73.33%. Production rate, E by TC is the formula. Substitute this efficiency here. TC is 1.2 by 16 hours. You get the production rate as 36.67 pieces per hour. Okay. That's the production rate. Now you see, you observe the production rates. You see in here, there was no change, right? Because the efficiencies are same. Therefore the production rates are same. But for the third and fourth case, you see, we got the production rate to be 33.36, right? Earlier what we got, 34.375, right? We are considering constant downtime, right? Therefore there is some sort of what do you call, uh, this value is higher, right? But geometric downtime, but that is more practical in a sense, right? So as we include more and more complicated terms and more practical terms, we'll have a reduction in the production rate, right? That's why theoretical production rate and actual production rate vary, because we have practical problems on the shop floor. So one problem was this, that there is geometric downtime. It is not same. there is variation. Similarly, for 100 we got it to be 37.03. In here we got 36, right? So that's the difference. And this is only per hour. If you take it per day, then you'll have a bigger variation. And as I said, more and more terms are added, more and more difference you get between the theoretical production rate calculated from the formulas and the actual production on the shop floor. The problem is clear, or are there any doubts? If there is anything you want me to explain again, I can explain. Okay. If at any part of the problem you're not getting it, because you can expect a problem from this transfer lines, either without buffer storage or with buffer storage. Okay. Mostly with buffer storage, I believe. Okay. One problem we can expect. No doubts. Okay. Now you see problem on transfer line with more than one storage buffer. Earlier, we were only considering one storage buffer, right? That is two stages. Now, he wants us to calculate for no storage buffer, for one storage buffer, for three storage buffers, for 19 storage buffers. Okay, for the same 20 station transfer line. Okay, this is constant. 20 station transfer line is constant all the way from first problem to the last one. Different things are changing, right? The calculation values and like different scenarios, right? Geometric downtime, constant downtime, etc. So now we are moving on to more than one storage buffer. So firstly, no storage buffer, he wants us to calculate one storage buffer 3 and 19. So assume in cases B and C and D that the buffers are located in the line so as to equalize the downtime frequencies, that is all Fi are equal. You see, he's giving us the information in the question itself that you have to assume that the Fi are equal, frequency of downtimes are equal. So the buffers are so located that the downtime frequencies are equalized. Okay, because for example, you might have, it is a practical problem, they will arrange the station such that the buffer storages will be placed so that you can have constant downtime frequencies. For example, one machine may give, for example, you see, this is the buffer storage. Okay, now the reason why they have placed 3 here and 2 here and then another buffer storage here, okay, there will be another buffer storage here. So the reason why they have placed these 3 here and 2 here is because these two machines combine, okay, if you keep them combined, the frequency of breakdown is, let's say, 0.1, okay, or 0.2 or 0.3, whatever it is, and combined downtime frequency of this is also 0.1. Okay, they have so arranged this because to equalize the downtime frequencies. Maybe these two machines give more of a problem, okay, one of the machines gives more problems, but these three are not so, because combination of that is also is giving us zero point 0.1, combination of these two is giving us 0.1. So because of maybe complicated what do you call, operations, more electronics, malfunctions would be more common, right? We know these are practical problems. So they have placed it so, okay, the engineers who have designed the line has placed it, okay, 3 on this one, 2 on this one. So this is what they are saying, you have to assume that all Fi are equal, they have so arranged. Okay,